I have been in this space, health and wellness and beauty, for 30 years. There's been nothing like this come along in 30 years. You know, when we have the ability, when our partners like Nuritas have the ability to identify specific biological needs and craft a smart bomb that can be ingested through and run through the gut and hit the target exactly, as opposed to just dumping more and more nutrients into our system in kind of a carpet bombing fashion, hoping that we hit the target. It's literally like going from World War II technology to modern warfare. That's what Nuritas technology allows us to do, is influence body chemistry in a very precise and in a very exact way. So let me introduce you all to Dr. Nora Khaldi, founder and CEO of Nuritas.
As we were building the AI system, we were testing hundreds of millions of peptides in the lab, and the AI was learning on which ones were working, which ones gave certain patterns to a cell, how did a cell behave, or tissue, or human, how did they behave under the influence of peptide X, peptide Y, etc. And using that data, the AI now can go and explore more and identify for each of the targets in the human body a solution. So today, this is why in our space, peptides are now on the rise everywhere. More and more people know about peptides, whether it's in the pharmaceutical space, whether it's in the consumer space, in our space, etc. Peptides are on the rise, and they're going to become very, very big, because now we can explore more of them. Now we can make them, we can find ones that are stable and orally available. Those are the weak points that were in the past are no longer today. And that's through the AI technology that Nuritas has developed. And to do that, I'm not going to go into much detail, but it took years of communication with, I'll just go back a slide, years of communication between the lab and the AI systems. The majority of signals in the human body are via peptides. That makes it a very good synergistic companion to many other ingredients. So combinations of, if someone is taking something else, an additional peptide will always work in complementary to that something else. It's not going to be one or the other, which is really interesting as well. And it's both a nutrient and a functional molecule. That's rare. Peptides are the only nutrient coded in the human genome. So that's really interesting. So they're both nutrients and functional molecules. Again, very, very rare. Should be all on them. And so we discovered PeptiStrong with 5 clear mechanisms. And the right-hand side just shows you some of the mechanisms of the peptides themselves. So PeptiStrong is a combination of a few peptides that target different targets within the human body. It reduces muscle degradation. It improves muscle production. It reduces inflammation. And as a consequence, there's higher mitochondrial count within the cells, so higher energy, muscles preserved, your strength is preserved. And then what we discovered in the clinicals, as well as we've done many clinicals with this ingredient, we discovered also that bone density is also augmented. We weren't expecting that, but there's a clear rapport from a lot of publications out there between muscle health and bone density as well. I'm not going to go through all this, but ultimately what we did initially was just say, okay, how does it compare now that we've done all the clinicals with PeptiStrong in both women and men? How does it compare to other ingredients within the space of muscle? So when people talk muscle, they usually think creatine, leucine, HMB, and whey. Whey is the protein. How does it compare? Well, it's a lot of X is better than everything that exists in various different ways. PeptiStrong does a lot more than these 4 ingredients, but within the area that ingredient, let's say creatine, works, it's 5 times better. Whey has a certain activity in phosphorylation of S6, for example. PeptiStrong is 4 times better, but it does other things on top of whey as well, etc. Leucine 2 times superior at 100th of the dose. Etc. But it also are synergistic with these ingredients. So like I mentioned earlier, peptide is interesting because the mechanism of action is through signaling, which is very different from other ingredients. So it is better, but also synergistic together. That's really, I think, a key learning. PeptiStrong, just to finish off, PeptiStrong is interesting as well, because when we looked at it, I just calculated this quickly in terms of how many combinations would have taken us through traditional methods in the lab. If we didn't have AI, if we didn't have the magnifier AI technology that Nuritas has, it would have taken 1 quintillion combinations. That's 18 million combinations to find peptides, to find PeptiStrong specifically. But on top of it, to do all those combinations the proper way, it would have taken us 30 million years through traditional ways. And when I say traditional ways, I'm talking about the ways of today, really, which is I'm going to take something in the lab and I'm going to test it. I'm going to test something else and I'm going to keep testing until I find something. It would have taken about 30 million years to discover PeptiStrong through traditional ways and not through AI as we did today. I just want to finish off by saying that everyone really, and it's not, I'm not saying this because we're the inventors of PeptiStrong, or I truly believe that muscle is core to our health, our longevity, our energy. One of the statistics I showed you earlier is that it's really interesting for Nuritas, and I'm sure it's super interesting for yourselves as well, in terms of when you know you're impacting millions of people by this shift. So with PeptiStrong, for example, we focused on strength. So there's a lot of papers that show that by augmenting strength slightly, you reduce all-cause mortality. That includes all cancers, all cardiovascular issues, all metabolic issues by 17%. 17% is massive. There's no one drug or combinations of drugs that would have that effect. PeptiStrong does. So by improving strength in people around the world, women, men of all ages, we're literally giving them 17% reduction on top of everything else, on top of the X% strength recovery, on top of the recovery, anti-inflammation, bone density, and all those interesting things that we'll get through PeptiStrong. You are literally giving them years more to live in a healthy situation. So everyone really should be using the Fit for Make Wellness with PeptiStrong inside.